Hi, I'm Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I'm the author of Pancreatic Cancer, Families Move On. I'm pleased to have with me today one of the contributors, Pat Poplinger, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about her contribution to this book, and actually she contributed to the first book as well. So welcome, Pat. Nice to see you.
Hi, thank you, Lisa. My husband, Charles, was the pancreatic cancer patient. He was diagnosed, kind of a large surprise. We weren't expecting that kind of diagnosis. And it was thought that he would be eligible for a Whipple surgery, which is the thing that's used to remove a pancreatic tumor, and that there was a fair possibility he might have a chance of survival. He was staged as like a 2.5, 3. However, when the surgeon got in and saw what was there, he found he couldn't remove the tumor, that it was much larger than it looked in the imaging and was filling the entire pancreas and pushing out of the pancreas. And he was a stage 4 inoperable cancer patient. So the doctor did quite a bit of surgery to try to make him more comfortable, and then sewed him back up without removing the tumor, and told us that if he had successful chemo, which had about a 20% chance of being successful, that he might have 6 to 9 months to live. However, he fooled everybody, and he had very successful chemo, and he lived for 2 years and was able to do quite a bit. Not that it was easy. The chemo was pretty hard on him, and he even had radiation after the chemo, and was told that he had about a 15% chance of long-term survival, but that wasn't to be either. So we had 2 years, some of which was tough and some of which was pretty good quality. It varied a lot. And that's to the time when I met Lisa online and later became involved with her first book. After Charles passed away, I moved from the West Coast back to the East Coast because my daughter and her family are here. And I had a 10-year-old granddaughter, and I lived in a small, really remote town in California on the coast, and it wasn't a place that was really appropriate for me to stay alone. This was, I'm in the suburbs of a big city near Washington, D.C., and this is an easier place for me to be, needing medical care of my own and, needing family and connections. So here I am. And this book, when Lisa approached me about it, I thought it really was a good fit for me to participate in, because if anybody moved on, I certainly did. I not only moved on, I moved 3,500 miles on. So here I am.
So briefly, that was about 10 years ago, right?
Yes, and I moved here I actually didn't get moved until January of 2012, but he passed away in January of 2011, so it's approaching 10 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We were going through all this about the same time.
We were, and in fact, your husband was alive in my first book, so which is,
Yes.
yeah, I had 4 survivors at that time. So why did you feel you wanted to contribute to this book?
Well, there were a number of reasons, not the least of which anything that raises money for pancreatic cancer is something that I want to participate in. And until last year, I was actively involved in things that involved walking and doing things where I was about the oldest person around, and kind of past that now and not so much able to do it. But if we raise any money at all, then that's a winner. But I also, I've often said to other widows that you have a couple of choices when you're widowed, no matter what the cause. One of them is you can curl up on a ball and be miserable for the rest of your life. And the other is you can literally move on and you can try to build a new life for yourself. And if this can help anyone to find their way through what's happened to them and move on and build a new life, then it's worth every bit of effort that goes into it, because it is a process to write something like this that brings back some memories that are a little hard as you do it. But if you can help anybody to realize that they can do it too, then you've done something positive, and it's worth any effort if it helps one person. So that's kind of how I view it.
That's so true. That's so true. And of course, that was the objective of the book. We want other people to realize that life does go on as we know that our family members would want.
Right.
Yeah.
They
And our
wouldn't
lives.
want us to mope, that's not what they wish for us.
Yes, yes. So our lives have changed. You want to give any brief overviews of obviously the move? Anything else in your life that really has changed since then?
Oh my goodness, virtually everything.
Yes.
Excuse me, not quite. I really had no interest in dating or meeting another man. That just wasn't something that I wanted to do. But I have gotten very involved. I live in a senior community. I've gotten very involved in the community. That's pretty much the bulk of my volunteer work. I've been on the board of the Homeowners Association for 3 years now, and I'm very active in the community. A little less active right now with the COVID shutdown, but I'm still on the board, and we've been really active during the shutdown because we've had to figure out what we can and can't do during the pandemic. And that's not trivial because there's a lot of legalities involved. Before that, I was quite involved in the social activities in the group that puts on social activities. I've been treasurer this year. I'm assistant treasurer with a new treasurer and helping to teach her the ropes. I was quite active with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network until a couple of years ago, and I've kind of moved on and left that now to younger people. It takes a little more energy than I really have. I've been very active with my family. My granddaughter is now a senior in college, but she was 10 when I moved here. And we traveled together quite a lot. I took her to Italy. I've taken her on a cruise, maybe 2 cruises, I guess. And I've taken her to a number of places in the United States, which she loves. She loves to travel, and her family, they go to places, but they have their own set places that they go to. So she and I explored some national parks, and she loved the trip to Italy. She'd go back to Italy in a heartbeat. And I kind of miss doing that now that she's older and she's either going to school or working, so she doesn't have the time. But while I could do that, I really enjoyed it. She's a very bright girl, and it's been fun to watch her progress through school and earn a lot of honors and a lot of A's and scholarship and all the things that you want for your kids or grandkids to do. So
Yes.
that's been fun. And now she's kind of growing up, so I have to find some other things to do.
Yes. And wonderful memories. And I think you have some pictures in the book.
I do.
That show some of that.
Yeah.
Really nice. Really nice. So you've moved on. Not the same life we thought, not what we expected, but certainly moved on with a new life.
Yes. I've traveled a lot. Charles and I traveled quite a bit, and I continued to travel after he died. I found other women to travel with me, travel in groups quite a bit with the people where I live and other people I know. And I had planned to go to Europe this summer on a riverboat cruise, and the big attraction was part of that was in the Netherlands, which is where I'm going to have to close a door here, you can't hear, where my grandparents came from, and I was really disappointed to have to cancel that because of the pandemic. But I imagine now, when getting older, I think cruises will probably be about all I do after this, if we ever get back to
Yes.
travel again.
Yes, yes, yes. We share the same thing. We love to
Yes.
travel as well. And I remember you had an RV, right? Did you have an RV?
Yes, Charles
Yes.
and I had a motorhome.
Yes.
I
We
miss
did too.
that
Me too.
sometimes.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't do that by myself.
Me
so.
too.
And
I
they're
know.
not as great. Well, up where you live, you can go north and there's some nice places, but down here, there's really nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know, from the Washington, D.C. area, there's not much. Whereas out on the West Coast, there's all sorts of great places.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yes. Yes. So, Pat, any final words for people who are watching this and listening to you?
Well, I have to say, if you know anybody, and I'd say not even just with pancreatic cancer, I've been thinking about this with the many people who've been lost to the pandemic. And I think that our experiences, even though it was geared to pancreatic cancer, fit anybody who has lost loved ones. I think that you have to move on, and I think these experiences are common to everybody who has that experience. So I would recommend the book to anybody who's lost loved ones.
I agree. Pat, we wish you well. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time and lots of happiness and good health. Thanks so much.